Dr. Patel handed me Sarah's donor registry form in the oncology ward at Lake Forest Hospital and said 6 words that stopped my heart. "We need to test biological parents first." I looked down at the form. Heavy cardstock, the kind that survives being shoved in folders and handled by a dozen different nurses. At the top, a red stamp screamed in all caps, "Urgent. Patient needs transplant within 90 days. The letters were slightly raised. You could trace them with your fingertip if you wanted to feel the weight of that deadline. My daughter Sarah has acute leukemia, 19 years old, sophomore at University of Michigan studying biomedical engineering. 3 weeks ago, she was planning her fall semester schedule. 2 weeks ago, she came home complaining about being tired all the time. 1 week ago, Dr. Patel sat us down in the same office and said her white blood cell count was catastrophically low. And now we were here, talking about bone marrow transplants, talking about biological parents. Dr. Patel is a good doctor, careful, precise, Indian American, early 40s, with the kind of calm bedside manner that makes you trust him even when he's delivering the worst news of your life. He was watching me now, and I realized his face had changed. Not the professional sympathy he'd worn for the past week. Something else. Something careful. "Mr. Patterson," he said gently, "your blood type is O positive. We have that on file from your last physical." "Right," I said. My brain was still processing, still trying to understand why we needed to specify biological parents. Sarah was our daughter, mine and Kate's. That was biology, wasn't it? Sarah's blood type is AB negative. The office was quiet. Somewhere down the hall, a machine was beeping. Someone laughed. Probably a nurse at the station. Normal hospital sounds, but in this room, the air had changed. I started again. "That's impossible." "Yes," Dr. Patel said. "It is genetically impossible if you're her biological father." The form in my hands suddenly weighed 1,000 pounds. I looked at Kate. She was sitting in the chair next to me, perfectly still. Her face, God, her face, she already knew. I could see it, the way her jaw was set, the way she wouldn't look at me. "We ran it twice," Dr. Patel continued. His voice was distant now, like he was speaking from underwater. "I wanted to be certain before I brought it to your attention. Mr. Patterson, I'm very sorry, but we need to know Sarah's biological father in order to test potential donors from his family line. Every day counts." I set the form down on his desk very carefully. My hands weren't shaking. Not yet. CFO training, 28 years of staying calm in crisis. But my chest felt like someone had reached in and squeezed. "Kate." My voice came out flat, professional. The voice I used in board meetings when the numbers didn't add up. "When were you going to tell me Sarah isn't mine?" She looked at me then. Her eyes were already wet. We left Dr. Patel's office in silence. Sarah was upstairs in her hospital room, sleeping after her morning treatment. We had maybe an hour before she woke up, maybe an hour before I had to look at my daughter, except she wasn't my daughter, was she? And pretend everything was fine. We made it to the parking lot, 3rd floor, section B, row 12. I remember that. I remember everything about that day with the kind of horrible clarity you get when your life is ending. Kate got into the passenger seat. I got behind the wheel. I didn't start the car. For a long time, we just sat there. I could hear other cars driving past looking for spots. Someone's car alarm went off 3 rows over. Normal sounds, normal day for everyone else. "It was Rebecca's wedding," Kate finally said. Her voice was barely above a whisper. "Rebecca." I pulled the memory forward. August 2004. Rebecca Hartwell marrying David Chen at Woodvale Country Club. Big wedding, 280 guests. Kate was a bridesmaid. She'd worn a lavender dress. "You slept with someone at Rebecca's wedding," I said. Not a question, a statement. Trying to make it real by saying it out loud. "Yes." "Who?" She was crying now, Proper crying, the kind where you can't catch your breath. Will, I'm so sorry. I was drunk. I was stupid. It was 20 years ago. Who? Kate. She reached into her purse, pulled out a photo. One of those pictures you keep in your wallet for years until the edges get soft and the colors fade a little. I recognized it immediately. The three of them, Kate, Rebecca, Eleanor Blackwell, all in their bridesmaid dresses, arms around each other, smiling. The photo we'd had framed and sitting on Kate's vanity for 20 years. Best friends forever, August 21st, 2004, engraved on the silver frame. It wasn't one person, she said. My hands tightened on the steering wheel. It was the groomsmen, Rebecca's husband's groomsmen. They were all there, and I was so drunk, Will, and I felt like everyone was watching me, judging me, and how many? My voice was ice now. All the CFO calm had frozen into something colder, something dangerous. 4. The word hung in the air between us. 4, I repeated. You slept with 4 different men at a wedding at Woodvale, our club. Kevin Park was first. In the coat room around 11, then Michael Sterling in the parking lot, John Blackwell in the library around 2 in the morning, and David Chen, Rebecca's husband, in the garden right before dawn. John Blackwell, my golf partner, my best friend for 15 years. We play golf with them, Kate. I couldn't stop my voice from rising. We have dinner with them. John is Sarah's godfather. Kevin's kids go to school with Max. Michael, Jesus Christ, Michael was at our house 2 weeks ago for the 4th of July barbecue. I know. You've been seeing these men, these 4 men who all slept with you on the same night for 20 years at the club, every Sunday, every charity gala, every board meeting, and you never... I didn't know which one. She was shouting now. A woman walking past our car glanced over, startled. Kate lowered her voice. I didn't know which one was Sarah's father. The doctor said she was conceived that weekend. She was born in June 2005. I tried to convince myself it was you, that weekend after the wedding, Don't. I couldn't hear this, couldn't hear her trying to rationalize. I started the car. I needed to move, needed to do something with my hands or I was going to put them through the windshield. Where are we going? Kate asked. Home. I need to think. What are we going to tell Sarah? Nothing, not yet, not until... I couldn't finish. Not until what? Not until I figured out which of my friends betrayed me. Not until I accepted that my daughter wasn't mine. All 4. We play golf with them, Kate. When we got home, I went straight to my office, closed the door, locked it. Max was at lacrosse practice. He wouldn't be home until 6. That gave me 2 hours. I pulled the Woodvale Country Club member directory from my bookshelf. The 2004 edition, burgundy leather with gold embossing. Woodvale Country Club Est, 1897. 800 member families. My hands knew exactly where it was. I'd kept every directory since we joined in 1999, the year after I made CFO at Hawthorne Medical, the year I finally felt like I'd made it. A Southside kid turned country club member. The leather creaked when I opened it. The gilt-edged pages made that whispering sound old books make. It smelled like my father-in-law's study, like old money and leather polish and privilege. I flipped to the back section, the special events photos, and there it was. Rebecca and David's wedding party, 8 groomsmen in tuxedos, grinning, celebrating, Kevin Park, investment banker. I'd helped him with some portfolio restructuring last year. Michael Sterling, private equity CEO. We'd gone to the same charity poker tournament every year since 2006. David Chen, Rebecca's ex-husband now, remarried with kids in Boston. We still exchanged Christmas cards. And John, Dr. Jonathan Blackwell, orthopedic surgeon, my golf partner every Sunday for 15 years. The man I called when I needed advice. The man who'd held Sarah when she was born and said, "She's perfect, Will, just perfect." I started going through the directory page by page, looking at their entries, their addresses, their phone numbers, their membership dates, and then I saw it. In the margins, Kate's handwriting, next to Kevin Park's name, small check mark, a date, 8/21/04, and a tiny note, CR 11 p.m. Next to Michael Sterling, another checkmark, PL 1215. Next to John Blackwell, Libby 147. Next to David Chen, GDN pre-dawn. She documented it. She kept a record. Coat room, parking lot, library, garden, timestamps, like evidence in a trial. Like she knew someday this would matter. My phone buzzed. A text from Max. Practice running late, home by 7. Did you talk to Sarah? Is she okay? I couldn't answer him. Couldn't tell my 16-year-old son that his sister, the sister he'd grown up with, fought with, loved, might not be his full sister at all. If you've ever discovered someone you trusted had been lying to your face for years, just type betrayed in the comments. Sometimes knowing you're not alone is the only thing that gets you through the night. I closed the directory, stood up, walked down the hall to our family room. Sarah's soccer trophies were lined up on the floating shelf, 15 of them, gold and silver, 6 inches to 18 inches tall. Every single one had Patterson engraved on the little brass plate. 2010 through 2019, her entire youth soccer career. I'd coached every single season. Assistant coach at first, then head coach when she turned 12. I'd run every practice, taught her every drill, watched her score her first goal when she was 5 years old. That smallest trophy, the one from 2010. I picked it up. It was lighter than I remembered, made that hollow metallic sound when I set it back down. The engraving was already starting to tarnish around the edges. Her first goal, the championship game. It was raining. She was playing forward, and the ball came to her off a corner kick. She trapped it with her right foot, the move I'd taught her, spun around the defender, the move I'd taught her, and kicked it into the upper left corner of the net, exactly where I'd told her to aim. She'd run straight to me, not to Kate in the stands, not to the other parents cheering, to me on the sideline. Jumped into my arms, soaking wet, shouting, "Did you see that, Daddy? Did you see?" I taught her everything, every play, every strategy, every moment of joy. Does biology erase this? Does a DNA test make these memories not mine? It was 2 a.m. when I got in my car. Kate was asleep, or pretending to be. I'd been lying next to her for hours, staring at the ceiling, unable to close my eyes. I drove. No destination, just drove. Through Lake Forest, past the houses of people I knew, people I worked with, people I saw at church, people I thought I understood. And then, without meaning to, I found myself on Woodland Road, pulling up in front of Woodvale Country Club. The clubhouse was dark except for the security lights, but through the big windows at the entrance, I could see the trophy case. They kept it lit 24 hours a day. Pride of the club, championship trophies going back to 1897, and right in the center, the biggest, newest trophy, John's Club Champion 2023, his name engraved in perfect script on the base. 24 inches of polished silver gleaming under the display lights. I'd been there when he won it. I'd been his partner in the qualifier. We'd celebrated together, whiskey in the locker room, matching Woodvale jackets with champion embroidered on them. He'd looked me in the eye that day and said, "Couldn't have done it without you, buddy." And the whole time, the whole 15 years we'd been friends, he'd known or suspected. Sarah had his nose, his chin. His daughter Emma had the same birthmark on her shoulder blade that Sarah had. I'd noticed it once at a pool party and thought it was a funny coincidence, but it wasn't a coincidence. It was genetics. My phone lit up with a text. From John, of all people. Like he knew I was thinking about him. "You up? Can't sleep. Want to hit some balls at the range tomorrow morning? 6 a.m.? I stared at that text for a long time. Tomorrow I'd confront him. Tomorrow I'd ask my best friend if he'd been lying to my face for 19 years. But tonight, I just sat there, watching his trophy gleam, watching the proof of his success. Success built on my family's membership. Success celebrated while he hid the truth about my daughter. The security guard knocked on my window. I recognized him, Eddie, worked nights for the past decade. "Mr. Patterson, you okay?" "Yeah, Eddie, just couldn't sleep." "I hear you. My wife's the same way. She drives around when she's got something on her mind." He smiled. Kind man. Didn't know he was talking to someone whose entire life had just collapsed. "You take care, sir. Get some rest." "Thanks, Eddie." I drove home. The house was still dark. Kate was still asleep. Sarah's room, Sarah, who might be dying, who needed a bone marrow donor from a family tree I'd suddenly been cut from, was dark and empty. She was still at the hospital, still weak from the chemo, still innocent of the truth. I had maybe 48 hours before I had to tell her, before I had to look my daughter in the eye and explain that the man she called Daddy for 19 years wasn't the man whose DNA could save her life. 90 days to find a donor, 4 possible fathers, 20 years of lies, 1 dying daughter who I love more than anything in this world, biology be damned. And every single one of those men was still a member of Woodvale Country Club, still playing golf on the same course, still attending the same parties, still pretending nothing had ever happened. I went to my office, pulled out my laptop, started making a list. Tomorrow I'd start getting answers. I texted John back at 5:30 in the morning. Hadn't slept, couldn't sleep. "Meet me at Lake Forest Hospital Chapel, 6 a.m. Important." He responded immediately. "Hospital? Everything okay? Is it Sarah?" "Just meet me there." The chapel at Lake Forest Hospital is small, non-denominational, quiet, stained glass windows that catch the early morning light. It's where families go when they need to pray, or when they need privacy to fall apart. I got there first, sat in the back pew. The chapel smelled like furniture polish and old hymn books. Peaceful, the kind of peace that felt obscene given what I was about to do. John walked in at 6:03. He was already in his scrubs, powder blue, hospital ID clipped to the pocket. Dr. Jonathan R. Blackwell, orthopedic surgery. He'd probably been here since 5, doing pre-op rounds. He saw me and his face did something complicated. Relief mixed with concern, mixed with something else. Something that looked almost like guilt. "Will." He sat down next to me. "What's going on? Is Sarah..." "She needs a bone marrow transplant," I said. My voice was flat, emotionless. "They tested me. I'm not a match. Actually, I'm not a match because I'm not her biological father." The chapel was very quiet. Somewhere outside, a nurse was paging Dr. Morrison to the ER. Life going on, normal hospital morning. John's face had gone white. "Will, how long have you known?" He opened his mouth, closed it. His hands were shaking. I'd never seen John's hands shake. Surgeon's hands, steady, always steady. "Since she was 3 years old," he finally said. The words hit me like a physical blow. Since she was 3. 16 years of lying to my face every Sunday, every golf game, every dinner party, every time he called me buddy and bought another round of drinks and asked how the kids were doing. "She has the same birthmark," John continued. His voice was barely above a whisper. "On her left shoulder blade, same as Tyler, same as me. It's genetic, dominant trait. I saw it at Emma's 5th birthday party. Sarah was in the pool. She dove underwater, and when she came up, I saw it. This small brown mark, shaped like a crescent moon, exactly like Tyler's, exactly like mine. And you said nothing. What was I supposed to say?" His voice cracked. "You were her father, Will. You were raising her. You loved her. What good would it have done to tell the truth?" I turned to look at him. Really look at him. This man I'd trusted. This man I'd called my best friend. "You could have told the truth." I told myself it didn't matter. That biology didn't... Don't! I stood up. Couldn't sit next to him anymore. Don't tell me biology doesn't matter when my daughter is dying and your DNA might be the only thing that saves her. John stood too. I'll get tested. Today. I'll get my whole family tested. Eleanor, Tyler, Emma, my cousins, everyone. Whatever Sarah needs. Have you been paying for her college? He froze. Sarah got a scholarship. I continued, my detective work from last night, following the money. Anonymous donor through the University of Michigan, $25,000 a year. I called the financial aid office yesterday. They wouldn't tell me who, but they let slip it was a private individual with ties to Chicago medicine. That's you, isn't it? I wanted to help. You wanted to ease your conscience. I could feel the rage now, breaking through the CFO calm, building in my chest like a wave. You've been watching her grow up, watching her play soccer, watching her graduate high school, sending her money, and the whole time you never once thought I deserved to know? I was a coward. John's voice broke completely. You're right. I was a coward. And now she might die because I didn't have the courage to get my family tested years ago when it could have... The chapel door opened. Eleanor, John's wife. Dr. Eleanor Hayes Blackwell, pediatric oncologist. She stopped when she saw us. John? Her eyes moved from her husband to me. Will, what's... And then I saw it, the realization hitting her face. Oh my God! Eleanor, John started. Sarah has your cleft chin, Eleanor said softly. She was looking at me now, not John. She has your nose, John, the same profile. I've been looking at her for 6 weeks, every day, treating her leukemia, running her chemo protocol, and I've been looking at my husband's daughter. The word hung in the air. Daughter. You knew, I said, and not at first. Eleanor's hands were shaking too, both of them matching tremors. But 3 weeks ago, I was adjusting her IV, and she turned her head, and the light hit her face a certain way, and She sat down hard in the nearest pew. I should have recused myself immediately. I'm supposed to be her doctor. I took an oath, and I've been treating a patient whose evidence of my husband's affair. It wasn't an affair, John said quietly. It was one night 20 years ago. With how many women? Eleanor's voice was ice. How many other women at how many other weddings, John? How many other children might be out there? It was just Kate. Just that one. It wasn't just Kate. Eleanor stood up. I've been covering for you for 20 years. Every late night, every conference, every time you came home smelling like someone else's perfume and told me I was imagining things. I believed you because I wanted to, because we had kids, because I thought... She stopped, looked at me. I'm so sorry, Will. I'm going to file an ethics report on myself today. I'll recuse from Sarah's case. Dr. Patel should take over completely. She already did, I said. 3 days ago, after the blood test results, she referred Sarah to Raj Patel. Eleanor nodded. Professional, even in crisis. Good! He's excellent. Her voice caught. He'll take good care of her. She walked out. The chapel door closed behind her with a soft click. John and I stood there in the silence. Get your family tested, I finally said. Today, every single person in your bloodline, and then stay away from us. Will, you don't get to be her father just because you have the right DNA, John. My voice was shaking now, all the calm finally breaking. I'm the one who walked the floor with her when she had colic. I'm the one who taught her to read. I'm the one who sat through every recital and every game and every parent-teacher conference. You contributed some cells 20 years ago. I contributed a life. I walked out, left him there in the chapel, alone with whatever prayers he thought might help. Sarah was awake when I got to her room. Room 412, oncology wing. The same floor where I'd spent the last 3 weeks watching my daughter lose her hair, lose her appetite, lose weight until her hospital wristband dangled loose on her thin wrist. She was sitting up in bed, bald. The chemo had taken her hair 2 weeks ago. She'd cried for an hour. Then she'd shaved it all off herself. If I'm going bald, I'm doing it on my terms, Dad. Kate was there, sitting in the chair by the window. Our eyes met. She looked exhausted, terrified. Dad! Sarah smiled, weak but genuine. Did you bring my trophy? Your trophy? The small one from 2010. I asked Mom to grab it from the house, but she forgot. I wanted it here, for luck. Something in my chest cracked. The smallest trophy. Her first goal. The one I'd been holding at 2 a.m, questioning everything. I'll bring it today, sweetheart. How's Max? Good. He wanted to come visit after practice, but I told him you needed to rest. I'm so tired of resting. She leaned back against the pillows. The IV drip connected to her arm made a soft beeping sound, steady, mechanical, counting down. Did Dr. Patel say when we'd know about the donor match? When can we do the transplant? Kate and I exchanged a look. Soon, honey, Kate said. They're testing some more potential donors. Sarah wasn't stupid. She was studying biomedical engineering. She understood genetics. She understood blood types and inheritance patterns and... You're acting weird, Sarah said. She was looking at me now, really looking. Both of you. What's going on? Nothing, sweetheart. We're just... Don't lie to me, Dad. Her voice got stronger, harder. I'm 19 years old and I have cancer. Don't treat me like a child. The door opened. Max. He'd come anyway. 16 years old, still in his lacrosse practice gear, backpack slung over one shoulder. He stopped when he saw us, read the room. What's happening? He asked quietly. Kate started to cry. Sarah's face changed. Someone tell me what's going on, now. I sat down on the edge of her bed, took her hand. Her fingers were so thin, I could feel every bone. The hospital wristband, white plastic, Patterson, Sarah K., Dob, Euro 5, 14, Rus 05, Oncology, was hanging so loose it might slip off. The blood test came back, I said. I'm not a match for the bone marrow donation. Okay. Sarah was processing, clinical, trying to understand. So, we test Mom and Max? It's more complicated than that, honey. How is it complicated? You test family members first. That's basic. She stopped. I watched her brain work through it. Blood types, genetic inheritance, impossibility. Dad, how is it complicated? Max set his backpack down slowly. He knew. I could see it in his face. Smart kid. He'd figured it out before Sarah had. I'm not your biological father, I said. The words came out steady, calm, like I was delivering quarterly earnings. The blood test showed it's genetically impossible. We're going to find your biological father and test his family for a match. You're going to be okay, Sarah. We're going to save you. Sarah pulled her hand away from mine. What? 20 years ago, at a wedding, your mother... No. Sarah was shaking her head. No, there's been a mistake. A lab error. That happens. Labs make mistakes all the time. They ran it twice, the sweetheart. Then run it again! Her voice was rising. The heart monitor started beeping faster. Run it 10 times. Run it 100 times until you get the right answer. Sarah! Kate reached for her. Don't touch me! Sarah jerked away. You knew. How long have you known? I didn't know which what? Sarah was trying to sit up, tangled in her IV lines. Max moved forward to help her, but she pushed him away too. Get away from me, all of you. A nurse rushed in. What's going on? Sarah, your heart rate. I'm fine. You're not fine. You need to calm down. Your blood pressure. My blood pressure is the least of my problems. Sarah was crying now. Ugly crying. The kind where you can't breathe. I'm dying. And you... She looked at Kate. You were going to let me die rather than admit the truth. No, baby, no. I needed bone marrow. I needed family. And you... She couldn't finish. Couldn't breathe. The nurse was checking her vitals, calling for the doctor. I reached for her again. Sarah, are you even my dad? The question came out broken, small. These trophies... She grabbed the one from her bedside table, the one Max had brought yesterday. Second place, 2015. Are these even real? Did I earn these with you? Or was it all a lie? They're real, sweetheart. I was there. I coached you. I taught you. You're not my father. She threw the trophy. It hit the wall, made that hollow metallic sound, clattered to the floor. You're not my father, and I don't know who I am anymore. Dr. Patel came in. I need everyone out now. Sarah needs to rest. We filed out. Kate sobbing. Max silent and pale. Me, I didn't know what I was. Numb, broken, something worse than both. In the hallway, Max looked at me. Dad? Yeah, buddy. You're still my dad, right? I'm still... Yes. I pulled him into a hug, held him tight. Yes, you're definitely mine. No question. He held on for a long time. When he finally pulled back, his eyes were red. Is Sarah going to be okay? I don't know. Kate was leaning against the wall, sliding down until she was sitting on the floor. Hospital staff walking past, trying not to stare. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Mr. Patterson, this is Tom Ashford. Kate's father, 74 years old, Woodvale board member since 1992. Old money, old power. Not now, Tom. I think now is exactly the right time. I'm in your office at Hawthorne. Your secretary let me in. We need to talk. How did you... Kate called me this morning, quite upset, told me everything. His voice was cold, controlled. I'm looking at your club membership plaque right now. Patterson family, members since 1999. Do you know what that means, William? I hated when he called me William. It means you earned your way into a world that doesn't forget, that doesn't forgive, and that certainly doesn't tolerate scandal. My daughter is dying. Your daughter, and I use that term loosely now, is sick. Yes, unfortunate. But what you're planning to do, exposing this, dragging our family name through the mud, destroying 4 prominent members' reputations, that's unacceptable. I was walking now, away from Sarah's room, away from Kate, toward the elevators. Tom, I'm going to hang up now. I'm holding the club bylaws. Section 12, subsection 4. Members can be expelled for behavior that damages the club's reputation or that of its members. I've called an emergency board meeting for Friday. I'm moving to have you expelled. The elevator doors opened. I got in, hit the button for the lobby. You do what you need to do, Tom. I'll do the same. We take care of our own at Woodvale, William. That's always been our way. But you were never really one of us, were you? South Side boy playing dress up. We gave you a chance. We let you in. And this is how you repay us? The brass plaque he was talking about, I could picture it. Cold metal, heavy. Patterson family, members since 1999, engraved in perfect script. I'd been so proud when we got it. Proof that I'd made it. That I'd climbed far enough that my kids would grow up different than I had, with opportunities, with connections. Sarah's life is worth more than a brass plaque, Tom. You keep it, frame it, put it on your wall. I don't care. I hung up. The elevator reached the lobby. I walked out, kept walking, through the automatic doors, into the parking lot. The July sun was brutal, hot, bright, everything too sharp. My phone rang again, different number. I recognized it. Eleanor. Will. Her voice was shaking. I need to tell you something about John. Eleanor, I can't. He's been writing Kate prescriptions for anxiety medication for years. I found his prescription pad in his desk. He's been meeting her, staying in contact. This wasn't just one night 20 years ago, Will. He's been in her life, secretly, the whole time. The prescription pad, I could picture it, standard medical form. Jonathan R. Blackwell, MD, orthopedic surgery at the top. DEA number, official, a paper trail he'd left behind. I'm filing for divorce, Eleanor said, and I think you should know. Sarah looks like our daughter Emma, like really looks like her. Same face, same features. If you put their photos side by side, she trailed off. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for all of it. I should have seen it sooner. I should have said something. Thank you for telling me. Your wife destroyed my marriage, Will, and I've been trying to save the daughter that proves it. The line went dead. I sat in my car, didn't start the engine, just sat there sweating in the July heat, trying to remember how to breathe. 4 men, 20 years, right under my nose. My phone buzzed with an email. Rebecca Hartwell Chen, the bride from that wedding 20 years ago. Subject line, I'm sorry. I opened it. Kate called me yesterday, asked if I still had the wedding video. I do. I'm mailing you the USB drive. I don't know what you're looking for, but if it helps Sarah, you should have it. I'm sorry this happened at my wedding. I'm sorry I didn't see what Kate was doing. I'm sorry for all of it. R. The USB drive arrived 2 days later. Small silver metal thing. Hartwell Chen, wedding 8/21/04, written on a white label in Rebecca's neat handwriting. Scratches on the metal from being stored in a box for 20 years. It was 3 a.m. Kate was asleep, or pretending to be. We hadn't spoken since the hospital. She'd moved into the guest room. Max had stopped talking to her entirely. I plugged the drive into my laptop. 4 hours of footage. Professional wedding videographer. Multiple cameras. Every angle. I started watching. The ceremony was beautiful. Rebecca looked stunning. David looked happy. Kate was there in her bridesmaid dress. Lavender chiffon. She looked so young. We all did. 20 years younger. Different people. The reception started at 6, dinner at 7, dancing at 9, and then I started seeing it. Timestamp 11:05 p.m. Kate talking to Kevin Park by the bar. They laugh. She touches his arm. He says something. They walk toward the hallway, toward the coat room. The camera follows the dance floor. When it pans back 10 minutes later, Kate is returning. Lipstick smudged, hair slightly disheveled. Timestamp 12:17 a.m. Kate is outside. The camera is on the terrace, filming the night sky, probably the videographer getting ambient shots. In the background, barely visible, Kate and Michael Sterling by the parking lot. They're talking, then they're not talking, then she's fixing her dress. He's adjusting his tie. Timestamp 1:47 a.m., the library, camera pans past the hallway. The library door is ajar. I can see shadows inside. Kate's distinctive laugh. John's voice, low and slurred. Drunk. They're both drunk. Timestamp 2:34 a.m. The garden. Early morning light starting to break. Most guests have gone home. Kate is sitting on a bench. David Chen, the groom, sits down next to her. They talk. She's crying. He puts his arm around her and then... I stopped the video. Couldn't watch anymore. 4 times. She left the reception 4 separate times throughout the night. This wasn't one drunken mistake. This was a pattern. This was calculated. I made a timeline, wrote it all down, timestamps, locations, evidence. Then I burned the video onto 3 separate disks, kept the USB, made backups of the backups. Kate walked into my office at 4 a.m. What are you doing? Watching your greatest hits. She saw the laptop screen, froze. Where did you get that? Rebecca sent it. Coat room with Kevin at 11, parking lot with Michael at midnight, library with John at 2, garden with David right before dawn. 4 times, Kate. You left me 4 separate times that night. I was drunk. You documented it. I pulled out the club directory, showed her the margins, her handwriting, the timestamps. You kept a record. CR 11 p.m., PL 12:15, LIB 1:47, GDN pre-dawn. You knew exactly what you did and you kept track. She was crying again. I thought, if something ever happened, if anyone ever asked, I'd need to know, I'd need to remember which one was Sarah's father. I closed the laptop. Did you ever love me, Kate? Or was I just the safe choice? The guy with the stable job who'd give you the life you wanted while you... Don't. while you slept with half the wedding party. It wasn't like that. Then what was it like? I stood up, faced her. Tell me, explain to me how my wife of 25 years ended up in 4 different men's arms on the same night, at our country club, at a wedding we attended together. I felt invisible, she was shouting now. Rebecca had everything, Harvard degree, perfect husband, perfect life. And I was just the guidance counselor from nowhere. And you were so busy working, climbing, trying to impress your bosses and join their clubs and become one of them. And I felt like I was disappearing, like I didn't matter. So you slept with them. I wanted to feel alive. I wanted someone to see me, to want me. I wanted you. I saw you. No, you didn't. You saw what you needed me to be. The pretty wife, the good mother, the country club social chair, but you never saw me. We stared at each other across my desk. 25 years, 2 kids, a house, a life. All of it burning down in real time. I'm filing for divorce, I said, and I'm going to the Woodvale board with this evidence. All 4 of those men are going to face consequences. They'll expel you. My father will make sure of it. Let him try. Kate left. I sat back down, stared at the USB drive on my desk. So small, so light, so much destruction in one little piece of metal. My phone buzzed. Dr. Patel. Mr. Patterson, I have news about Sarah. 2 weeks later, Kate had her mandatory social committee meeting. The annual gala planning. August 15th, 6 weeks away, 400 guests. The biggest event of the year at Woodvale. Kate was vice president. She couldn't skip it without raising questions. I drove her there. We still weren't speaking, but I wanted to see it. Wanted to watch her face the other women. The whispers had started. Tom had made sure of it. Quiet pressure, club gossip, the kind that spreads like wildfire in a closed community. We pulled into the Woodvale parking lot. Kate was wearing her usual armor, designer dress, perfect hair, perfect makeup, but her hands were shaking. You don't have to do this, I said. First words I'd spoken to her in days. Yes, I do. She got out of the car. This is who I am. This is all I have. I watched her walk into the clubhouse, head high, shoulders back. I waited in the car, checked my phone, text from Dr. Patel. Need to talk. Call me. 20 minutes later, my phone rang. Kate. Can you come inside? Her voice was breaking. Please, I need you. I found her in the ladies' lounge, sitting on the couch, mascara running down her face. What happened? Rebecca was there. She stood up in the middle of the meeting. She told everyone. Kate was gasping for air between sobs. She said, what happens at the club stays at the club, right, Kate? Isn't that what you always say? And I said, yes. And she said, not anymore. I sat down next to her, not touching, just there. They all know, Kate whispered. Every single one of them knows now. My phone rang. Dr. Patel, persistent. I have to take this, I said. I walked out into the hallway. Dr. Patel? Mr. Patterson, your daughter's white blood cell count has dropped significantly. We need to move faster on finding a donor. Have you made any progress identifying the biological father? I looked back at the lounge. Kate was still crying, her whole world crumbling. We're working on it. Work faster. We're running out of time. Here's the impossible choice. If you were me, if your daughter was dying and the only way to save her was to destroy your entire social world, would you stay silent and hope for a miracle? Type silence in the comments, or burn it all down and expose the truth. Type truth. What would you do? I know what I chose. Let me tell you how it went down. Dr. Patel called me at 6:47 a.m. on a Thursday, 3 weeks after the gala meeting, 3 weeks of watching Sarah get weaker, 3 weeks of Kate sleeping in the guest room and Max refusing to eat dinner with us, and my entire life falling apart 1 cell count at a time. I was already awake. I'd been awake since 4, lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, counting the hours Sarah had left. Mr. Patterson, Dr. Patel's voice was different, lighter. "We found a match!" I sat up. "What?" "National Marrow Donor Registry. A 10 out of 10 match. John Blackwell's cousin, second cousin actually. Lives in Wisconsin. He's already agreed to donate. We can schedule the transplant within 2 weeks." The room tilted. I had to put my hand on the nightstand to steady myself. "She's going to live," I said, not a question, a prayer. "The odds are very good, 70 to 80% success rate with this strong a match. We'll start the prep protocol immediately." I couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. 3 weeks of watching my daughter fade. 3 weeks of wondering if I'd ever hear her laugh again. 3 weeks of preparing myself for the possibility that she might die hating me for not being her biological father. And now, "Mr. Patterson, are you there?" Yes, I'm here. Thank you, Dr. Patel. Thanks Sarah's biological father's family. They came through." I hung up, sat there on the edge of my bed in the dark. John's family saved her, not mine, John's. But she was alive. She was going to live. That was all that mattered. I called my lawyer at 7. "Bill, it's Will Patterson. I want to file for divorce. Today." Kate came downstairs an hour later. I was in the kitchen, had been sitting there with cold coffee for the past 30 minutes, trying to figure out how to tell her. "They found a match," I said, "through John's family. Sarah's going to get the transplant." Kate's knees gave out. She grabbed the counter. "Oh, thank God! Thank God!" "I filed for divorce this morning." She looked up at me. "Will, and tomorrow I'm going to the club board. I'm presenting everything. The video, the timeline, the prescription pad, all of it. All 4 of them are going to face consequences. They'll expel you. I don't care." I stood up, set my coffee cup in the sink. Sarah's going to live. That's all I needed to know. Now I can tell the truth without killing her. What about Max? What about his friends, his lacrosse team, everyone he knows? I'll talk to Max. He'll understand. Will he? Kate's voice was bitter. He won't even look at me. He moved out of his room because it shares a wall with mine. He's sleeping in the basement. That's on you, Kate. You did this. We did this together. We built this life together, and you're going to burn it all down. You burned it down 20 years ago. I'm just finally seeing the flames. The Woodvale board met on Friday evening. Emergency session, 7 p.m., 12 board members. Tom Ashford had called the meeting, ostensibly to expel me, but I'd called in a favor. Rebecca was on the board, new member as of last year. She'd made sure my name was added to the agenda. I walked into that boardroom at 6:55 p.m., carried a leather portfolio. Inside, printed stills from the wedding video, the club directory with Kate's notes, a written timeline, copies of John's prescriptions to Kate over the years. Eleanor had provided them, and the USB drive, just in case they needed to see it for themselves. The 12 board members were already seated. Tom at the head of the table. His face was stone when he saw me. "William, I'm surprised you had the nerve to show up. I requested time to address the board before you vote on my expulsion. This isn't a trial." "No, it's not." I set my portfolio on the table. "It's an accounting." Rebecca spoke up. "Mr. Patterson has 10 minutes. Board rules allow any member facing expulsion to address the accusations." Tom's jaw tightened, but he nodded. 10 minutes, starting now." I opened the portfolio, pulled out the first page, the timeline. August 21st, 2004, Rebecca Hartwell and David Chen's wedding reception, right here at Woodvale. 280 guests, 8 groomsmen. One of those groomsmen was Dr. Jonathan Blackwell. Another was Kevin Park. Another was Michael Sterling. The fourth was the groom himself, David Chen. I could see the board members exchanging glances. Confused. What did this have to do with my expulsion? That night, my wife, Catherine Patterson, née Ashford, I looked at Tom. Your daughter, Tom, slept with all 4 of those men, in sequence. Throughout the reception, coat room, parking lot, library, garden, she documented it, kept records, because she wasn't sure which one had fathered her child. The room went silent. My daughter Sarah is 19 years old. She has acute leukemia. She needs a bone marrow transplant. When we did the family testing, we discovered I'm not her biological father. It's genetically impossible, which means one of those 4 men is. I pulled out the club directory, opened it to the marked pages, passed it around. Catherine kept notes right here in the 2004 member directory, timestamps, locations, evidence. Tom was standing now. This is slander. It's documented truth. I pulled out the USB drive, set it on the table. 4 hours of wedding video, every disappearance, every return, every piece of evidence you need to verify what I'm telling you. One of the board members, Richard Morrison, attorney, old family friend, spoke up quietly. Will, I'm very sorry about Sarah, but what does this have to do with your membership? These 4 men have been active members of this club for over 20 years. They've played golf here. They've brought their families here. They've served on committees. They've attended every gala, every charity event, every Sunday brunch. And the entire time, they've known, or should have known, what happened that night. I pulled out the prescription pad evidence. Eleanor's documentation. Dr. Blackwell has been prescribing my wife anxiety medication for years, maintaining contact, secretly. He admitted to me 3 weeks ago that he's known since Sarah was 3 years old that he might be her father. He saw a genetic birthmark, and he said nothing. For 16 years, he looked me in the eye every Sunday, called me buddy, played golf with me, and lied. Rebecca spoke again. The board received a motion from Tom Ashford to expel Will Patterson for behavior damaging to club reputation. Tom, would you like to explain what behavior you're referring to? Tom's face was red. He's planning to make this public, to embarrass our family, to tell the truth. I cut him off. To hold people accountable for their actions? Tom, you told me on the phone 2 weeks ago, we take care of our own at Woodvale. You said that's always been our way. I looked around the table at all 12 faces, old money, new money, lawyers and doctors and business owners, people I'd known for years, people I'd trusted. You say you take care of your own? You covered for 4 men who destroyed my family. You protected abusers of trust. You enabled a conspiracy of silence that lasted 20 years. And when my daughter was dying, literally dying, Tom's solution was to expel me to protect the club's reputation. I picked up the brass membership plaque I'd brought with me, the one from my office. Patterson family, members since 1999. Set it on the table in front of Tom. I'm returning this, not because you're expelling me, because I'm resigning. Some memberships aren't worth the dues. Tom stared at the plaque. You're making a mistake. The only mistake I made was thinking this place mattered. That belonging here meant something. I looked at Rebecca. I'm sorry your wedding became ground zero for this. You deserved better. Rebecca's eyes were wet. So did you, Will. So did Sarah. I gathered my evidence, started to leave. Wait, it was Richard Morrison. I moved that we table the motion to expel Will Patterson, and I moved that we open an investigation into the conduct of Jonathan Blackwell, Kevin Park, Michael Sterling, and David Chen regarding their behavior at the 2004 wedding and their subsequent silence on a matter affecting a fellow member's family. Seconded, Rebecca said immediately. Tom stood up. This is outrageous. You can't. We can and we will. Another board member spoke up. Patricia Chen, no relation to David. She was a retired judge. This club has a code of conduct. Sections 9 and 12 specifically address member integrity and trust. If what Will is saying is true and the evidence appears substantial, then these 4 men violated that trust in the most egregious way possible. The vote was 7-5, 7 in favor of investigating, 5 in favor of sweeping it under the rug and protecting the old guard. The board requests that Jonathan Blackwell, Kevin Park, Michael Sterling, and David Chen submit their resignations within 30 days. Patricia read from the bylaws. Failure to do so will result in formal expulsion proceedings. I stood there, stunned. I'd expected them to expel me, to close ranks, to protect their own. Instead, they'd chosen truth. Tom walked out, didn't look at me, didn't speak to anyone, just left. Rebecca came over, hugged me. Thank you for doing this, for having the courage. I didn't have a choice. You always have a choice. You chose Sarah. You chose integrity. She pulled back. That plaque you returned, don't throw it away. Someday, when this is all over, you might want to remember that you stood up when it mattered. 2 weeks later, Sarah was prepped for transplant. They'd shaved what little hair remained, scrubbed her with antiseptic, hooked her to more machines than I could count. She looked so small, so young. My little girl who used to jump into my arms after soccer games. I held her hand in the pre-op area. She was terrified. I could feel it in the way her fingers gripped mine. I'm scared, Dad. I know, sweetheart. What if it doesn't work? It's going to work. But what if... Then I'll be right here. Whatever happens, I'm not going anywhere. The pre-op door opened. John, standing there, uncertain. He'd lost weight, looked older. Eleanor had filed for divorce 2 weeks ago, taken the kids. He was living in an apartment downtown now. I'm sorry, he said to me, to Sarah. I'm sorry for all of it. I wanted to wish you luck. Sarah looked at him for a long moment. This stranger who was her biological father. This man who'd contributed cells but nothing else. Thank you for your family, she said quietly. For the donor, for saving my life. I should have done it years ago. Yeah, you should have. John nodded. Left. Sarah turned to me. He's not my dad, right? Like, biology doesn't change that? Nothing changes that, sweetheart. I'm your dad. I've always been your dad. I'll always be your dad. The door opened again. Eleanor. Dr. Eleanor Hayes Blackwell. She'd been cleared by the ethics investigation 2 weeks ago. No wrongdoing found. She'd recused herself as soon as she suspected. She was Sarah's oncologist again now. Ready? Eleanor asked Sarah gently. No, but let's do it anyway. Eleanor came over, stood by the bed, looked at Sarah, then at me. Sarah, she said softly, your biological father's family gave you this chance. A stranger in Wisconsin is donating bone marrow today because he shares John's DNA. That's a gift, a tremendous gift. Sarah nodded. But Will, Eleanor's voice caught. Will gave you 19 years of showing up, of coaching soccer and staying up late with homework and driving you to practice and holding you when you cried. John's DNA might save your life today, but Will's love already did that every single day before this. She turned to me. You earned this, Will. You earned being her father. That matters more than any blood test. My throat was too tight to speak. Sarah was crying. I was crying. You earned this life, sweetheart, Eleanor said to Sarah. Now go fight for it. They wheeled her away. I stood there in the pre-op area. Max came and stood next to me, put his hand on my shoulder. She's going to be okay, Dad. Yeah. And we're going to be okay too. You, me, and Sarah. What about your mom? Max was quiet for a long time. I don't know. Maybe someday, but right now. Right now, I'm choosing you guys, the people who show up. The transplant took 6 hours. The recovery took 30 days. They kept her in isolation. Risk of infection was too high. We could only visit through glass, talk through intercoms, watch her fight for every breath. But she fought. God, she fought. 30 days later, Dr. Patel came out smiling. Her white blood cell count is rising. The transplant is taking. She's going to live. I sat down right there in the hallway, put my head in my hands, and sobbed. 6 months later, January 2025, I was sitting in the hospital cafeteria with Sarah. Routine checkup day, 3-month scans, blood work, the usual post-transplant monitoring, but she was healthy. hair growing back in these ridiculous little patches of dark curls. She hated it. I loved it. We were drinking terrible cafeteria coffee and laughing about her professors at Michigan. She'd gone back to school in January, jumped right back into biomedical engineering. So this guy in my genetics class, Sarah was saying, he asked me out, and I was like, do you know how complicated my genetics are? Do you really want to go there? I laughed. Actual, genuine laughter. First time in months. Are you going to say yes? Maybe. He's cute, and he doesn't care that I'm bald. You're not bald. You're aerodynamic. She threw a sugar packet at me. My phone buzzed. Text from Max. Lacrosse tournament this weekend. You coming? Absolutely, I texted back. Sarah was reading something on her phone, smiling. What? John texted, asked if I wanted to get coffee sometime, talk, get to know each other. My chest tightened. What did you say? I said, maybe, not now, but maybe someday. She looked up at me. He's my biological father. That's a thing. But you're my dad. That's different. That's earned. You don't have to see him if you don't want to. I know, but maybe I do want to, a little, just to understand. She reached across the table, took my hand. It doesn't change us, Dad. Nothing changes us. We sat there for a while. Comfortable silence, people moving around us, doctors and nurses and other patients and families, life going on. Sarah pulled something out of her wallet, her old hospital wristband, the one from her cancer diagnosis, white plastic. Patterson, Sarah K. Dobb, 05-1405, Oncology. I kept it, she said, a reminder of what we survived, together. I pulled out my own wallet, showed her what I'd been carrying, not my old club membership card. That was gone. Donated to a charity auction along with the brass plaque. Some other family's problem now. Instead, her baby hospital bracelet. The tiny pink one from when she was born. Thornton, baby girl, 6/14/2005, 7 Labits 3 Oz. You kept that? Sarah's eyes filled. Since the day you were born, that's the day you became mine, Sarah. Not because of biology, because I chose you. And I keep choosing you every single day. She was crying, happy crying, the good kind. I love you, Dad. I love you too, sweetheart. We finished our coffee, walked out to the parking lot together. My car was parked in Section B, same section where Kate had confessed 8 months ago. Different world now. In my trunk there was a cardboard box. Inside, the brass membership plaque, the framed photo of the 4 groomsmen, the USB drive with the wedding video, all the evidence, all the proof. I was donating it all. Local Historical Society had a collection on Lake Forest social history. They could have it. Let some future researcher figure out what it meant. Sarah saw the box. What's that? Old Life, donating it. The club stuff? Yeah. She picked up the membership plaque, looked at it. Patterson family, members since 1999. You can keep it if you want. Nah. She set it back in the box, smiled at me. Some prizes aren't worth winning, Dad. Some daughters are worth losing everything for, sweetheart. We drove home, my new place, modest townhouse. Nothing like the estate in Lake Forest, but it was ours. And I realized something. I'd lost my wife, lost my country club membership, lost my standing in Lake Forest society, lost the life I'd spent 28 years building, but I'd kept my daughter, kept my son, kept my integrity. And sitting there in that hospital cafeteria, drinking bad coffee with Sarah, watching her laugh about her genetics class, that was worth more than any championship trophy or brass plaque or membership directory could ever be. We take care of our own, but our own doesn't mean protecting secrets and enabling lies and choosing reputation over truth. It means showing up every single day, even when it costs everything, especially when it costs everything. Sarah and I redefined what family means that day in the cafeteria. not who you're born to, who shows up. If you've built your own chosen family, people who prove their love through action, not DNA, tell me about them in the comments. I want to hear your stories. And if this story moved you, if it made you think about who really matters in your life, hit subscribe. I tell stories about the moments that break us and remake us. I'll see you in the next one.